because we got. This is important. The world has to know, right?
This is very important.
All right. Okay, so you were saying.
All right, we're on?
Yeah, we're on.
What's up?
Oh, we'll go horizontal.
Okay.
There we go.
All right.
So,
Negative harmony and fruit.
first things
Yeah.
first. You have a key center, right?
Yeah.
You can go about that key center in two different directions, right? One is approaching from the fourth side of the cycle of it, and one is approaching from the fifth side of the cycle of it. Oh my god. And so the sensations of these two different sides are very different. The perfect side feels a bit more like brighter, and then the plagal side feels a bit more reassuring. What negative harmony does is it transfers every single chord around the key center to its inverse state. So if it's major, it becomes minor. If it's dominant, it becomes a minor 6 chord. Essentially every interval every interval that makes up that chord is inverted around what that key center is. So for example, if you're in D major, right?
Okay.
D and A, that is your basis. That's your key center basis. And so if you actually think about what that axis is that you're rotating it about, it's between F and F sharp.
That's what I don't understand. I think that's what a lot of people don't understand. Why is the
it sounds
third?
really confusing, but it's not the third. It's just that if you have
It's halfway in between.
if you have DNA, right?
Like, but why is the axis the fifth?
Well, the
understand.
axis, the concept of the axis being the fifth is a philosophy of this guy Earnst Levy, right?
Okay.
And so Ernst had this philosophy, and I think it's kind of right, because if you think about a note at its fifth, it's the most reassured that key can be. And I don't know if you've done any arranging,
Yes.
but if you play a chord and then you have a fifth in the bass, you know, if you've like do, and then but you've got do, ba, that fifth is like really thickening, really reassuring. So the root in the fifth is like a stable place to be, as far as the key center is concerned. That's my philosophy as to why it's the most stable choice of a chord. George Russell, I don't even know who he is, but he wrote this book about the chromatic approach to harmony, and essentially the fact that Lydian is the most biased in all ways you can describe a key as something in Lydian. And I disagree, because I feel like Lydian is biased upwards, up to towards the fifth side of things. And then plagal is something towards the darker side of things. So if you take C pentatonic, or if you say you take C pentatonic, that's fairly balanced. And then if you add a B to that, then it wants to rise, the B wants to rise, and if you add an F to that, then the F wants to sink.
Yeah.
And so the pentatonic is balanced. It's a pentatonic, and it wants to rise and it wants to sink. In my opinion, that Ionian, the major scale, that's the most balanced format of a key, right? And then when you approach that key, if I can make that feel darker and wrap in on itself, or I can make it feel brighter. So if I have C major, and then I go, right, that's Lydian, so sharp on the fourth, that becomes sharp. If I go, then I flattened the B, and for that reason it becomes like more in
dark.
So,
It's not a mixed Lydian.
yeah, and then obviously I can continually flatten notes in that scale, and all of those notes are actually a fifth apart. It's like flattening. If you see the circle of fifths, it's flattening one fifth at a time. So the next one to flatten, if it's C major, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, so it goes, and then E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, C flat. Yeah.
Right, all the way until Locrian.
All the way until past Locrian.
Or past Locrian. Well,
yeah, until you get back to where you started, right?
Oh fuck!
So that's what I mean by super Lydian or super ultra.
Right. No, I think that's what I understood the most. I think.
So just to clarify what negative harmony does emotionally, is it changes everything that is the axis
I get
of
what
bright
it does
becomes the axis of dark. What was your question?
I think I get what it does emotionally. I think I don't understand, like, functionally.
That's
like,
what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Like when
I think everyone.
2-5, it becomes like a backdoor 2-5, but the 2 becomes the 5, and the 5 becomes the 2.
Like
essentially, right?
So
But then how to function?
the sequence is okay. So if you have a 2-5, say you're in C, the 2 is a D, and then the 5 is a G. So if you have the chord of D, like D7, for example, or if you rotate that chord of D7 around the axis of C major, then tell you that the D becomes an F, and then obviously the F sharp becomes a C sharp, and then the D becomes B flat, so that's B flat minor. Yeah. So what that is the flat
That's if you
seven.
do a dominant, not a minor.
It's the flat. Yeah, that's if you do a dominant one, right? Yeah. So what essentially what that becomes is B flat minor, and the D it began its life as major, and the negative version is minor, but it's also the equivalent point away from C on the subject. So this is C, and it goes C from your point of view. It goes C, G, D, and then C, F, B flat. And the B flat is the equivalent to the D.
Right. And then you would
So it's
do that
flip.
one.
So D major
oh.
becomes B flat minor, and it's the same gravity to the key center. The F sharp the F sharp has the same tension, the same amount of gravity to C from rising to G as the D flat and B flat minor does to sync to C.
Right,
So
I
the
get-
gravity is equivalent.
I get like on an individual voice leading, like chord to chord, but like holistically, like you're doing like a 3-6-2-5-1 number, like a whole, chord progression that on its own we'd expect to function one way. In the negative, at least the way I've been inverting it functions a totally different way.
Yeah.
And so I'm just asking, like, how do you approach that? Like, do you just throw out what you'd expect normally, like how it would function, like how a dominant 7th chord would want to go, or how a minor 7th chord, you know what I mean?
Essentially what this is it's like a philosophy that enables you to gather more tools for your toolbox.
Right.
And once you have tools in your toolbox, the answer to your question is you use them use them just emotionally. You think, I want it to feel like this, or I want it to feel like this. I want to champion towards C. I want to shy away from C but still arrive there. I want to arrive in C after a long journey. I want to arrive in C after a short journey. I want to have been in C all along. That's the use of it.
Right.
So once you've explored negative harmony, like it's all very well. I can say, okay, theory, all this stuff you can know. That's fantastic. And that's like not the whole point, because the whole point is once you know something, you make emotional choices with your knowledge. It doesn't matter how much of a language you can speak until you start making emotional choices with that language. So B flat minor to C, like play that and see how it feels. Everyone should find for themselves how that feels, because B flat minor to C is like really interesting, just like psychologically. It's like everything about that brightens, because B flat, D flat, F, it's like, but D7 is, being the positive, if you say the positive reflection. D7 is all of the directions of those notes are going the opposite way. So D is, C, and then D, B flat, and then F sharp, it's brightening, and then it's darkening. But like these are sensations. That's all it is. It's sensations. So think about that when you gather a skill set. It's like commit to emotional representations of those, and that's like how I learned music. Right? I didn't have teachers. I had a piano, and I had like a room, and I had a family who, it was really my mother who empowered me to be creating things. It didn't matter what I was creating, just I had to be creating something. And so that gave me the power to. I was empowered to be creating something, not the results of what I was creating. That wasn't the point. The point was I was making something, and for that reason. Like, I think that's where education goes wrong. It's like you merit someone on the results. So I do this and then I get an A, or I get a D, or not the notes but like the grades, right? and so that is like soul destroying for somebody both ways. If I get full marks in an exam, I make a judgment of myself. I've got full marks in an exam. I deserve this. I represent this. I think I just And then if I get low marks on an exam, that I think I've got, then I'm low marks as a human being. It's like really a bad idea, because the best thing about your life is that it's a process of doing things, right? You participate in activities, and the activities, that's what grows you, and that's what grows people around you. So, yeah, once you've, to kind of trace back to my original point, if you invest in the exploration of these sounds, as opposed to the information of these sounds, then you hold on to it in a different way, Because if you hold on to information like this, and then you do this to it, you're going to learn about information. You're going to learn more and more information, and I can tell you lots of information, but like there's no thing. There's no point in that without the basis of what you want to say. Like play a chord that's your mother, play a chord that's your sister. Play a chord that's like that, yeah, or play a chord that's like that. It's just like those. That's what you feel. That's what a person feels when they listen to music. Is the gestures. It's like the gestural way of making music, as opposed to the incremental. And I love both. I really love both. I love the information, but it's just it's more important that I tell you guys to be emotional than I tell you to be informational. So negative harmony is fantastic. Go and explore it. Find your own way of doing it, but gravitate towards how it makes you feel, not what it makes you know. If that makes any sense. Yeah.